This is your bestie in grief, Ashley. Welcome to the Calm Sphere podcast, your official go-to safe space where we talk about grief, healing, mental health, faith, and nervous system support in a way that feels honest, gentle, and most importantly, human. You don't have to have it all together when you're here. You just have to show up, and I'm really glad you chose to do so today. I'm speechless. We are in step 6, the final step of the grief protocol. Just wow. I want to take a second before we get into anything because I need you to really feel what this means. You came home to your body. You learned to feel instead of run. You started to quiet the spiral in your mind. You found your words. You let love in. And now you're here. The final step, step 6, live for both of you. If you are brand new to the show, welcome, of course. I'm so glad you found this, but I do want to encourage you to go back and start from episode 5, which is called the Intro to the Grief Protocol. This series was built in a specific order for a reason, and each step builds on the next one. So please go back to episode 5 and start from there if you are listening to this for the first time. All right, today is the episode I have been building toward since the very first one, because everything we have done in this protocol, every hard thing we have faced, every tool we have picked up, it was all leading us here to the moment where we decide that this grief is not going to be the end of our story. It is going to be the fuel. Yes, you heard me right. Your grief is going to be your fuel. I'm going to be very honest with you in this episode because this step is not easy. Living fully after loss is not a switch that you just flip on. It is a decision that you make over and over and over again. Some days it feels like freedom. Some days it feels like betrayal. And most days it feels like both at the exact same time. But here's what I do know. Your person would want this for you. And by the end of this episode, I really hope you start to believe that too. So this is the hardest thing about choosing joy. And I feel like maybe a lot of people are afraid to say this out loud. But choosing joy after loss does not feel like your regular, typical joy. And honestly, I don't think it will ever feel the same way pre-loss. And this is what I mean. Before I lost my sister, joy was just joy, and a good moment was just a good moment. Celebration was celebration. But after loss, every single joyful moment comes with a shadow right behind it. It's just filled with that sadness, regardless of how joyful the moment is, because the person you love is not here to share it with you, to put it simple. And the bigger the joy, the bigger the shadow, the deeper the sadness. So I'm getting married in August, and it is going to be one of the best days of my whole life. And I'm going to marry the man who held on to me even when I was pushing him away. The man who has been my rock through the hardest season I have ever lived through. And my sister's not going to be there. She was supposed to be my maid of honor. She was supposed to be standing right next to me, and she's not going to be there. So, yes, I am going to be the happiest I have ever been on that day, but I'm probably going to fall apart in the bathroom somewhere because the grief of her absence will hit me right in the middle of one of the best moments of my life, and both of those things will be true at the same time. That is what joy after loss actually looks like. It is not pure anymore. It is not clean. It is messy and layered, and sometimes it hurts in the exact same moment that it is beautiful. That is so confusing, and it's not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that you loved someone deeply. The grief and the joy are inseparable now, and learning how to hold them at the same time is one of the most human things we can do. We can hold both at the same time. Now, I want to talk about the guilt, because this one is real, and I know it is living inside a lot, if not every one of you right now. The guilt of being happy after your person is gone feels like you're leaving them behind. Like, moving forward means moving away from them. And I want to say to you what I say to myself almost every single day. I understand. I wholeheartedly understand this feeling. And just because I created this podcast and this platform does not mean I am any further along than you or any better at this than you. I still have hard days. I still feel guilty for wanting to be happy, and I still fall apart. The only difference is that now I have tools to pick myself back up and keep going. And here's what I want you to hold on to when that guilt shows up. Feelings are data, not facts. We talked about this in step 3. Just because you feel like you are leaving your person behind does not mean you actually are. You are in control of how you carry them. You are in control of how you honor them in your daily choices and your daily life. And moving forward is not the same as moving on. Moving on implies you are leaving them somewhere behind you, but moving forward means you are bringing them with you into every good decision, into every brave moment, into every version of yourself that is becoming more whole. My mind has this ongoing conversation with my heart every single day. I am constantly coaching myself. My mind has to convince my heart that my sister would want me to be happy, that she would want me to get married and be present on that day, that she would want me to be sober and thriving and building something that matters. And some days my heart believes it quickly. Other days it takes all day or just never believes it on that day. And that's okay. The coaching that your mind gives your heart never fully stops, but it may get a little easier every time. I want to tell you about the moment I made the decision not just to survive anymore, but to actually live. It happened a little over 2 years after my sister passed away. I was exhausted, and not the type of tired that you get from not sleeping. This is the tired you get from carrying something so heavy for too long with no end in sight. I was tired of numbing myself, tired of the cycle, tired of watching my life pass by while I was stuck. And I thought about my sister. I thought about how she died, about an accidental overdose, about how substances took her from me. And I thought, I cannot let her death be in vain. I cannot let this be for nothing. I cannot let drugs and alcohol win in my life the way they won in hers. And that thought changed everything. Because here's what I used to believe about substances and that lifestyle. I thought it was freedom. I thought the parties and the drinking and the numbing were me living my best life, but that is not freedom. That is chains. When you are dependent on something to function or feel okay, you are not free. You are just a prisoner who does not know they are in a cell. And the moment I decided to step out of that cell, the moment I chose sobriety and God and my own healing over the numbing, it felt like a literal weight lifted from my shoulders that I had been carrying so long, I forgot it was there. That is what living for both of you feels like. Not perfect, not immediately easy, but free. It is so freeing. For the first time in a long time, I felt free. I need to share something that I know is going to sound very controversial, and please hear me out. Do not close the app. Losing my sister was the worst thing that has ever happened to me, and it was also the best. I know how that sounds. Please stay with me. Before she passed away, I didn't know who I was. I felt unworthy of love. I abused my body. I let people walk all over me. I thought I was happy, but I was really not. I glorified a lifestyle that was slowly destroying me. And I was moving through life on autopilot, chasing the wrong things, becoming a smaller and smaller version of who I was actually meant to be. And losing her cracked me open in a way that nothing else could have. Seeing death that close, losing someone that suddenly and that completely, it forced me to stop and ask myself for the first time a question I had been avoiding my whole life. Is this actually the life I want to be living? And the answer was plain and simple: no. I am a woman of God now. I am filled with conviction. I think before I act. I choose the harder right thing over the easier wrong thing. I got sober. I became a twin mom. I became a healthy partner. I'm getting married. I love the people who love me and I show up for them. I have put myself first in a way that is not selfish but necessary. And I am building something that is going to outlast me. None of that version of me existed before I lost her. She built this version of me through her death and through my grief and through the decision I made to not let her death be for nothing. I would give anything to have her back, like anything. But I also cannot deny what her absence has done in me. And I think honoring her means owning that truth out loud, even when it is complicated, even when it sounds wrong, and even when I feel guilty for saying it. She made me who I am becoming, and I am going to spend the rest of my life becoming someone worthy of that gift. Pause. Before we keep going, I want to take a quick second to tell you about something that has been a real part of my healing journey. Grief is exhausting, right? We all know that. And when your digestion is off, your mood goes with it. This has been scientifically studied. I started using sea moss from A Mama Who Cares because your gut is literally your second brain. Sea moss changed my gut, my mood, my sanity, and it is also cleared by the Ministry of Agriculture, so there's no preservatives, no junk, just 92 minerals your nervous system is probably begging for. They even have real fruit flavors. It is one small thing that helped me feel human again. I highly suggest you start taking sea moss. Use my code Ashley15 for money off. The link is going to be in the show notes. Okay, let's get back to it. I want to bring faith into this step in a deep way because I think scripture has some of the most powerful things ever said about suffering and what comes after it. There are 3 verses I want to walk you through because together they build something really important. The first is 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. Jesus says, "My grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness, not in your strength, but in your weakness," which means the places where you feel most broken, most insufficient, most not enough, those are the exact places where God's power shows up the loudest. You do not have to be strong for God to use you. You just have to be willing. The second is Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. All things, not some things, not the easy things, all things, including the loss, including the grief, including the dark seasons that felt like they would never end. God does not waste any of it. He is working in all of it, even when you cannot see how. And the third is Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 5. Let us rejoice while in tribulations, since we know that tribulation produces endurance. Endurance, in turn, produces hope. And the hope does not lead to disappointment because the love of God has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit, which was given to us. Let me break that down simply. Suffering builds perseverance. Perseverance builds character, and character builds hope. And that hope is not wishful thinking. It is a hope that is backed by the love of God poured directly into your heart. That means your grief is not pointless. It is producing something in you. It is building an endurance in you that is going to carry you through every hard thing that comes after this. And the hope that comes out of it is not fragile. It is rooted, it is real, and it cannot be taken from you. God does not waste our pain. He transforms it into power, into purpose, into something that reaches further than we ever could have imagined before we went through it. I want to paint you a real picture of what living for the both of you actually looks like in daily life, not the highlight reel version. This is the real one. Living for both of us looks like waking up and thanking God before I check my phone, even on the days when I do not feel like it, because my sister does not get to wake up anymore and I do. And that is not something I'm willing to take for granted anymore. It looks like choosing the harder right decision over the easier wrong one. So every single day, that might mean choosing a healthier meal when I want fast food, or working on my dreams when I am tired, or being patient with my twins when I want to lose it on them, or taking a picture of me and my family when we're just in our pajamas watching a movie, just trying something as simple as that, something that makes us cherish our people, that makes us cherish the simple moments that our person does not get to enjoy anymore. It looks like telling people I love them out loud because I know what it feels like to run out of time to say it. It looks like being kind to strangers because I don't know what anyone else is carrying, and I know how much of a small act of kindness means when you are in the middle of something heavy. It looks like honoring my body, getting sober, moving it, nourishing it, resting it when it needs rest, letting it cry when it needs to cry, treating it like the sacred thing it is. It looks like this podcast and the film that is coming out about me and my sister's story, and showing up for bereaved people who feel like nobody understands, because my sister's death does not get to be for nothing. I will spend every day making sure it is not. And it also looks like hard days. Days when the grief is loud and I can't get out of bed. Days when I miss her so much it feels physical. Days when the guilt sneaks back in and I have to coach my heart all over again. Those days are part of it too. Living for both of us does not mean pretending the grief is gone. It means choosing to keep going even when it is not. Let's stop right here for just a second. This is your reminder that if the calm sphere has been a space where you have felt seen and a little less alone, the best thing you can do right now is hit follow wherever you are listening so you never miss an episode. And if anything in this episode has landed for you, please go leave a 5-star review. Those reviews help other grieving people find this space, and that is the entire reason I show up and do this work. I also want to invite you into my email community where I share extra tools and things that do not always make it into the episodes. The link is in the show notes. And speaking of show notes, this episode comes with a free downloadable guide called Live for Both of You. It has everything we are talking about today laid out simply so you can come back to it whenever you need a reminder of why you are still here and still choosing to be better. Grab it in the show notes, and all right, let's finish this episode together. Now to say something that might feel really hard to hear, but I believe it is actually one of the most freeing truths in this entire protocol. You will grieve for the rest of your life, and that is okay. Grief does not end. It changes and it gets softer over time. The waves get a little more manageable and the tools start to work, and the community you have built helps carry the weight. But the grief does not disappear, and I don't want you to spend your life waiting for it to. Because here is what the grief actually is. It is love. It is the love you have for your person that has nowhere to go now that they are gone. And as long as you love them, you will carry some version of that grief. And that is not a problem to be solved. That is evidence that what you had was real. Your person was real. The love you shared was real. And their absence hurts because that love was so big that the world still feels different without them in it. So if you are waiting to feel fully healed before you start living, I want to invite you to stop waiting. The grief and the living are not opposites. They are partners now. You carry the grief while you live the life, both at the same time. Does that make sense? Imperfectly and beautifully and courageously, they can both live together. And that's what it means to live for both of you. I want to close this episode by speaking directly to someone. She's the one who pressed play today, but is not sure she believes any of this applies to her. She's the one who has been listening to this whole protocol and thinking, yes, that sounds amazing for other people, but I am too broken. I have been in this grief way too long. I have made too many bad decisions. I have too much shame. I am too far gone for any of this to work for me. I see her. I have been her. And I want to say to her what God said to me in the middle of my darkest season. You are not too far gone. There is no version of broken that is beyond reach. There is no amount of time that is too long. There is no shame that is too heavy. There is no past that disqualifies you from a present that is full and alive and worth living. I was drinking alone in my car. I was numbing everything. I was making choices I am not proud of. I felt completely unworthy of the kind of life I am now living. And look where I am. Not because I had it together, but because I kept choosing one imperfect day at a time to get a little closer to the person I was always meant to be. You do not have to take a giant leap. You just have to take one step. The smallest possible step toward the life you deserve, and then take another one tomorrow. Your person, my sister, is cheering for me. Your person is cheering for you too. I genuinely believe that. They are not watching you with disappointment. They are watching you with the same love they had for you when they were here. And they want to see you live, like really live, not just survive. Do it for them. Do it for yourself. Do it because you are still here and that means something. Live for both of you. Before I let you go, let me say this. You started this protocol at the beginning, or you found it somewhere in the middle, or maybe this is the first episode you ever heard. Wherever you came in, you are here now, and that's what matters. You have learned to come home to your body. You have learned to feel your feelings instead of run from them. You have learned to quiet the spiral. You have found some words for what you are carrying. You have started to let love in, and now you are here at step 6, living for both of you. But this is not the end of the work. Healing does not have a finish line, but it is the beginning of a different way of carrying your grief. One that honors your person, not by staying stuck in the pain, but by using the pain to become someone extraordinary. The world needs what your grief has built in you. The depth you now have, the compassion, the understanding, the fire. There are people out there right now who need someone who has been in the dark and found their way back. And that person is you. Go live fully, imperfectly, courageously for you and for them. They would be so proud of who you are becoming. That is the end of the grief protocol, 6 steps, and you made it through all of them. But the calm sphere is not going anywhere. We are going to keep going and keep talking and keep showing up for each other in this grief journey, because remember, grief does not end, and neither does this community. Stay tuned for what is coming next, and in the meantime, share this series with someone who needs it. You never know whose life a podcast episode can change. If something here helped, that means your nervous system felt a little safety today. Follow the Calm Sphere podcast, leave a 5-star review if you loved this episode, and tell me what you're taking with you. Remember, by listening, you are taking one step toward the life you deserve. I'll meet you right here next time.